What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be going over the Storm of Arrows system changes coming on September 18th. This is kind of going over more into detail about the changes to the game itself. I'm not going to be covering kind of the obvious stuff like we're going to be getting the new Archer class. That stuff is very obvious and most people already know that stuff. And I have videos already covering that. So if you want that type of information, I will leave a link in the description. You can check out my previous videos, but this one we're going a little bit more deep into detail about some changes to the game, like daily quests being changed or PvP skills being changed or new equipment items added, stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoy this type of series. Let's jump into this video and talk about these system changes. So first thing I want to talk about is pet gems being added to the game. So you're going to be able to add 3 slots to your pet with this update. Each one costs legendary gem hammer, so you need 5 for the first slot, 15 for the next one, and 45 for the final one. And there's actually only going to be 3 different gem types that you can equip to your pet. So you can have a diamond, obsidian, and a garnet. So you definitely want one of each for your 3 slots available. And it's going to be 3 different tiers of gems. So heptagonal, octagonal, and triangular. And transmuting these pet gems are actually really expensive. If you want to make one heptagonal pet gem, the lowest tier, you need 100 gold, 7 pet pats, 2 oblivion fragments, and then 5 Hamun gem fragments. These are gem fragments. These are not gem powders. 5 of them for one heptagonal gem. To me, that is way too expensive. And you're probably wondering where you get the oblivion fragment. That is from the brand new raid, which I'll cover a little bit further in the video. But on this topic, I just feel like for one heptagonal pet gem, this is way too costly. Like, I know for myself, I'm definitely not getting any pet gems anytime soon. Especially after seeing these costs, and you don't even want to know the cost for the triangular or even the octagonal pet gem. These are just absurdly expensive in my opinion. I feel like the majority of the player base is not going to be able to even make one pet gem, let alone 3 of them to max out the slots. Definitely feel like this should have been way less expensive, at least for the lowest tier, the heptagonal, because this is thousands of gold. A little pricey in my opinion. Next up, they're going to be increasing the Unity ranking cap that you can reach. Right now the maximum is 120. With this update, you can go to 150, and with that, you unlock more slots to equip Unity Stones. So these ones right here that are saying to be released later, that's actually going to be released on September 18th. Now, the next thing we're going to begin is actually a 12-man raid called Throne of Oblivion. Now, this raid kind of threw me off because it's kind of confusing. It's not like a super easy raid like Snowjay Fortress or Hall of the Keeper, but it's not a maximum difficulty raid like Nightfall Sanctuary or Eternity Temple. So it's kind of somewhere in the middle. It's basically going to be a copy of Nightfall Sanctuary final boss, which is Grand Celestial Emperor. It's the same fight like him, but it's way easier in mechanics, and the boss obviously doesn't have as much HP as this boss does. Now, the rewards are actually pretty decent. You can get Onyx Scale fragments, Oblivion fragments for the pet gems like I mentioned earlier. You're also going to need to farm this raid because you can get the Unrefined bracelet. This is for the brand new bracelet so you can upgrade it into the stat version. And according to the live stream, this Throne of Oblivion raid was somewhat of an event in Korea, like a duration time available, and then they closed it. But for our region, it's going to be permanent, so that can kind of explain why it's kind of weirdly added to the game, because we've never had a raid that's like somewhat in the middle of being difficult but easy on mechanics. I'm assuming probably the DPS required is going to be like 900,000 DPS, maybe pushing 1 million. So it's not going to be an endgame raid, but it's not going to be something super easy like Snowjay Fortress. Now, the next thing we're going to be talking about is something that's going to be pretty damn controversial in the Blindsole community. They're actually going to be removing normal mode from the game and adding easy mode to replace it. Now, this was actually mentioned in the Korea producer letter. In the letter, the Korea team talked about how they wanted to design a mode that was really welcoming for new players. So this beginner easy mode is designed to let you do the dungeon, but it has less rewards and less gold because it is so easy. And basically the mechanics are the same as a hard mode dungeon, but none of the mechanics can actually wipe you. So you can mess up the mechanics, big deal, you take a little bit of damage, a little hit to the face, but nothing to actually wipe the whole party. So this is something that's designed to make it easier for people to clear the dungeons and get to know them before they progress into the hard mode versions. Now, the really weird thing is in the Korea producer letter, they talked about keeping normal mode, hard mode, and easy mode. What they showed on the live stream is there's actually only going to be easy mode and a hard mode. So normal mode is completely removed from the game. And here's kind of the issue with that I see. The majority of the normal mode dungeons in this game right now are just completely brain dead and really don't have any mechanics at all. Really, the only normal mode dungeons that have any type of mechanics are the newly released ones like Brood Chamber, Dream Song Theater, Warp Citadel, the hardest ones in the game and the hardest DPS requirement you need, so you have to be geared to do them. But all these other normal mode dungeons really don't have mechanics at all. Shadowmoor, Sandstorm Temple, Drowning Deep, Starstone Mines, none of these dungeons have any mechanics anymore. They're not like when they're released when you actually had to pay attention. All you do is just AFK and DPS. Every single time I do Sandstorm Temple and LFP it, no one does the pillars mechanic for the final boss. Everyone just ignores it and just iframes because the boss doesn't wipe you anymore. All those mechanics have been stripped from those dungeons, so do we honestly need an easier mode than that? They're literally just brain dead DPS. So really with them removing normal mode and adding this beginner mode instead, really all I see is that we're going to be getting less rewards and less gold for basically doing the same dungeon. I heard the only difference with beginner mode is that it's a little more soloable now, so the bosses probably have less HP, but it's still going to be simple and easy to do. So I really don't get the point of them doing this beginner mode. I really just feel like it's going to be worse for us. And really odd thing though is that in Korea they still have normal mode, but it's only for a select few dungeons. So for Dreamsong Theater and Newer, for example, those still have normal mode available. So we're not really sure if we're going to have all the features that Korea had, but we'll have to wait and see on patch day. I really hope they still keep normal mode for at least some dungeons because I would hate to see it completely removed for the game. When I was watching the live stream to get all this information for the system changes video, one of the things I noticed that was very interesting is that cold storage is down to only 6 gold with a membership. Right now, I know I get around 9 gold and I think 90 silver without a membership. I think it's like 12 or 11 gold with a premium membership. So this is a big significant nerf to cold storage daily quest gold. So without a membership, you're gonna get around 5 gold from cold storage now. This is pretty huge because this is a dungeon I run every day because it's not too difficult to do. I can personally do it solo with my gear, and it's a nice chunk of gold every single day. So this is something they completely ninja nerfed, and I highly, highly, highly doubt is going to be put in the patch notes on Tuesday. And it's kind of scary because did they nerf any other dungeons? I guess we'll have to wait and see when we log into the game on the 18th. Now this is something I was going to explain on the game too, but I actually want to go into the live stream and showcase it because it's way easier to showcase and talk to you guys about when you can actually see a visual for it. So for the daily challenge, you're actually going to be changing it a lot. So right here you do 2 daily quests from the daily challenge and you actually get this quest box that usually is only unlocked from doing 3. The only difference is this chest will no longer give solar energy. And if you complete 3 of the daily challenge quests, you can get this purple chest. And this is the new event chest, so it won't be permanent. And this is just like the Dragonfire chest we have right now, which is also an event chest that has all the rare items in it, like Sacred Vials, Onyx Scales, RNG chance to do it when you complete the daily challenge quest. And if 3 quests aren't enough for you, you can actually do a total of 8 different quests per day from the daily challenge to get the maximum reward, the Elder Scale Fragments. Now these are going to be in the new tier scales. We have the silver scales, the onyx scales, and now we'll have the elder scale fragments, which are basically the golden scale fragments. And just like the other scale fragments, you get 20 of them and then combine them into one elder scale. These are going to be used to upgrade the new bracelet and then other equipment item in the future. So these are going to be very important to get. They basically drop from the brand new dungeon and content like that. Besides actually changing the rewards for the daily challenge, they're also changing a lot of the quests in there. They're kind of revamping them, adding some of the newer dungeons into the daily challenge, which I don't really mind for that. But one thing I really dislike is they're removing the Celestial Basin, Brawl of the Basin quest from the daily challenge. It'll be permanently removed. And I feel like this is a really bad change because one of my favorite things about the daily challenge is the fact that you can do it within 10 to 15 minutes if you just do the easier quest. For example, the Celestial Basin quest takes 10 to 15 seconds. It's super fast to kill the boss and turn in. Boom, you got 1 quest done. Now you only have 2 more to go. But with them removing this, it's going to be more time consuming to knock out the daily challenge. And I really feel for the people who do daily challenge on 5+ characters. I don't even know if they're going to do it now with this quest being removed because it was that good. And now with the patch being on September 18th, you're going to have to do basically 4 daily quests to get the daily challenge solar energy and all the good materials. So really, you're going to have to spend more time, do more daily quests, and the quests that were really easy to do are getting removed. And I don't know if this is their grand idea to try to make players stay online more or play the game more because it's more time consuming to do the daily challenge now. I just feel like this is a really bad change and it's going to be very negative to the community. A lot of people are not going to be happy about having to do the same content, the same rewards for basically more time now. The last couple of things to wrap up this video I want to talk about firstly is the PvE and PvP changes. So I talked about this in a previous video, but it is very important, so I want to highlight it again. Right now, let's say if I do Sis Visa's Battleground, my Stormcleave does 20,000 damage. If I do a raid dungeon, it does 20,000 damage. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, that's the damage it does. But on the 18th patch, you're going to be separating skills to be balanced better. So if I do a raid dungeon, it'll do 20,000. But let's say in Sept v Sept, Battleground, Beluga Lagoon, maybe Stormcleave will only do 15,000 damage, so it's better balanced, or it might even be stronger. And that's their way of balancing skills now with this new system, so they can kind of nerf something in one mode and buff something in other modes so it's not completely ruined. Because with the previous system, let's say Stormcleave was really broken in Battleground Sept v Sept, which obviously it isn't, but let's say it was. What they would do is they would nerf it, but then it would be really garbage in a raid or a dungeon. So what they're going to be doing is separating that and trying to balance it to make it better overall for the system. So the very, very last change I want to talk about, and I promise this is the last one because this is a pretty long video, but a lot of things to talk about, right? This one is they're going to be making a lot more items account bound, and this is always a positive change. I'm very happy about this. So Grand Celestial Steel, Grand Celestial Wings, Onyx Scale, and Onyx Scale Fragments will now be account bound for everyone. So let's say I have my 34 wings on this character. Obviously, I'm not going to really be working on this character because his gear is pretty bad. He's my old character. But I can't actually give these wings to my Catmint main character because they're not account bound. So they're kind of just sitting here being useless. But now they're account bound, I can actually mail them to Catmint and he can use them to maybe upgrade his soul shields or whatever I want to do on them. Same thing for the Onyx Scales. So this is a really positive change. I'm very happy about this because I feel like a lot of players have a bunch of Grand Celestial Wings on a bunch of characters because they do the weekly challenge on multiple characters and they're just sitting there. But now you can mail it to your old character and upgrade their soul shields. Overall, those are really all the system changes I really want to highlight for you guys. Definitely mention in the comments how you feel about this patch. I'm interested to know what you guys think, of course. Really, this patch is decent. There's some things I really don't like though, like making daily challenge more time consuming. I really don't like them removing potentially normal mode from the game completely, and I especially don't like them potentially nerfing a bunch of dungeons. We don't really know the full extent, but removing the gold from cold storage, like halving it, is like really bad. I'm not a fan of that, but I do like the account bound stuff and a few other changes. So it's kind of a mixed bag for me. Let me know what you guys think about this patch in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching the video all the way through. I'll see you guys next one real soon, and I'm out.